Right, so this Elon Musk goes marks up on Jews as
But
well.
let's get started. So yesterday, something incredible happened.
So
And I
what
think you
did he
guys saw
say?
this already. If you were watching the broadcast, you saw it. I was covering it in real time pretty much. There was a video that came out from a conservative Jewish person in Florida who resurfaced an older video, like an older anti-Semitism, like Stop the Hate campaign video with a father saying like, "Oh, I saw that you were saying anti-Semitism. Like, how about you say that to their faces?" To which some random dip responded with, "Actually, Jews are doing anti-white hate and also are participating in like destroying and doing white genocide by bringing barbarians into
What?
America. So now that those barbarians hate the Jews, like they can't cry foul," which is a very anti-Semitic conspiracy. I mean, it's the most like Hitlerian thing that you could say.
It's like
Normally, when you look at a
it's
situation
about immigration.
like that, when someone is just like popping off with, the most Hitlerian argument you can come up with, right? When the articles are completely off the charts. What a normal person would say is, "Wow, that's disgusting. Anti-Semitism, not allowed. Ew, gross." Unless you're Elon Musk, in which case you reply to that Hitlerian argument with, "This is the most truthful
Actual
thing
truth.
you could have ever said, my friend." And he was supposed to be the expected speaker at the APEC CEO Summit in San
That's
Francisco
interesting.
and was dropped almost instantly after his reply. Okay, $44 billion achievement unlocked online. He just straight up was like, "Yes, you are so right. You are the most right anyone has
actually
ever
losing
been."
his mind.
The ancient classic fascist argument that Jews are destroying the civilized Western world that is comprised of white people by creating, bringing in people from all different parts of the world by doing white deliberately. Now, Elon Musk pushing unvarnished anti-Semitism at a time of rising anti-Semitism and violence against the Jews. Okay, Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of dialectical hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. I'm deeply disinterested in giving the tiniest now about Western Jewish populations coming to the disturbing realization that those guys don't like them, blah, blah, blah. Elon goes, "You have said the actual truth." Just straight up. Now, of course, you can take the boy out of the apartheid, but you can't take the apartheid out of the boy. Yeah. Now, of course, where's the ADL on this? I don't know. They're too busy like trying to campus activists or something. Okay. They're too busy. They're too busy looking at like the actual anti-Semitism that's happening all around. But that hasn't stopped some of the biggest right-wing content creators, and why should it actually, from also channeling that exact same argument. Here's Tucker Carlson. Again, just literally Hitlerian.
Then I thought, well, wait a second. If the biggest donors at, say, Harvard have decided, well, we're going to shut it down now, where were you the last 10 years when they were calling for white? You were allowing this. And then I found myself really hating those.
Wait. When white is happening?
Have decided, well, we're going to shut it down now. Where were you the last 10 years when they were calling for white? You were allowing this. And then I found myself really hating those people, actually. That you're okay with that? On what grounds were you okay with that?
And this is what I've been trying to explain to the pro-Israel lobby, that what you were seeing as lack of support is people that are asking the question is, where were you as we have endured all of this?
You were paying for it.
He literally said white and Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson said white sitting across the table from Tucker Carlson is who? Candace Owens, a black woman who is just going along with it. That's why I say she's a white supremacist. Okay? Candace Owens. Come on now. Come on.
Actually, right. You were paying for it.
You were paying for it.
You were calling my children immoral for their skin color. You paid for that. And so why shouldn't I be mad at you? I don't understand.
And so that is, obviously you have a ton of white people that are asking this question, and they're now being called anti-Semitic.
First of all, like they low-key aren't, because the major institutions that combat anti-Semitism, at least like the shitty ones, are way too busy trying to defend Israel right now. Okay, so like no. A lot of this anti-Semitism is like gone unnoticed, it seems.
And I think that's wrong. I think these are meaningful questions that deserve to be answered. Why was this sort of verbiage allowed into the curriculum? I mean, could you imagine if in the curriculum it said that every Jewish person born?
He said white genocide. She said we. I think she forgot. Maybe ain't no mirrors in the crib. I don't know what's going on there. How do you say we to white genocide as a black person, as a black woman? Like I don't understand that. This is Jason and Musk's great replacement conspiracy theory. One thing it borrows from the far more extreme right, however, is the idea that Jews represent the worst of both the left and the right. In their minds, we are multiculturalist Marxists and also right-wing tribalists. Basically, it takes the segments of the Jewish population, stitches them together, imagines they all have power, and thus creates a supervillain out of them. It is hate, bigotry, naked anti-Semitism. We have now reached a new level, and you should all be concerned. I agree, 100%. Elad Nehorai is 100% correct. One last note, there's a ton of energy being put into left-wing anti-Semitism at the moment, including by Jewish orgs. Much of it is legitimate. I don't agree with that, I don't think. But the overfocus is a purposeful acquiescence to the power players on the right. See the differences in focus? It endangers us all. You just say, why do you think they're wrong? That's a great question from someone who is literally, I assume, sympathetic to the cause here. The cause, that is. Stop Hitlerian, bro. Explain the reasoning you have and criticize theirs. I'm not totally disagreeing with them, and I'm Arab-born and raised in France. You just say it's not. You don't bring any argument against that. First of all, if you're Arab-born and raised in France, you are doing white by existing in France. You.
Okay,
Oh my God, it's Zemmour. Oh my God, we found him. He's in the chat, dude. It has to be, right? Anyway, he's far right. That's why I was saying, are you Eric Zemmour? Because you literally said, what is white? I kind of agree with what they're saying. As an Arab person in France, white is not real because white is a political concept.
Stop existing, huh?
Designated or designed around the boundaries of proximity to blackness. Okay, it's based around purity. It doesn't go in the direction. You can't become more white. You can only become less white. What causes white? Miscegenation. What causes white? Immigration. That's not a real. There's never been a real like that ever. It's just completely made up
can become
by racist. It's designed around the principles of the one drop rule, which dictates that if you have one drop of black blood in you, you are no longer considered white. People migrating into a country voluntarily and consensually is not the same as resettlements, and it's not the same as okay? So when these guys say, oh, what is happening, and I say Aryan, the reason why I'm saying that is because that's exactly what Adolf Hitler said. Adolf Hitler had the exact same opinion on Jews. He said that Jews were trying to destabilize Germany and the entirety of the white West by allowing moral degeneracy to happen and making sure that these areas became diverse. What's miscegenation? Race mixing. Voluntary, consensual race mixing between two loving partners. Now, they don't say white genocide, usually, except Tucker Carlson let it slip here, just like they don't say cultural Bolshevism any longer, Judeo-Bolshevism any longer, okay? Say Judeo-Bolshevism, and now right-wingers say cultural Marxism. They swap the language around a little bit, but the energy is still there, okay? Because white identitarians are usually neo and fascists who understand that everybody knows that bad, so they have to like constantly update the messaging a little bit. The concept is still the same, though. The guy who came up with the great replacement was literally a French who hated Muslims, Lamau. That one chatter is the OG replacer, Renaud Camus. I understand your point. I wanted you to develop. What do you think I do normally? So mean. I've explained this concept so many
same one guy over and over again.
The concept in and of itself is a fascist one. It's built around purity, and it's also the exact same thing that Adolf literally said. So that's what's going on. Okay, you're just not allowed to assume chatters can perceive race science themselves. Yeah, that's what Tucker Carlson is doing here. It's oldest trick in the book. Okay, that's why I say it's Hitlerian, because Adolf literal said the same. Elon Musk got clapped for his anti-Semitic sentiment. However, there's more. Here it is. The New York Times plans an event with Elon Musk despite his history of attacking the outlet. Also, an article came out showing that what Hitler said the sky is blue too. Wait, what? French people just have this like. It's so weird. You have to be anti-Semitic, I think. Elon had more to say about the ADL in that thread. Oh, here. The ADL unjustly attacks the majority of the West, despite the majority of the West supporting the Jewish people in Israel. This is because they cannot, by their own tenets, criticize the minority groups who are their primary threat. It is not right. It needs to stop. Yo.
Damn,
yes, but this is not fair to say or truthfully say the Jewish communities promote dialectical hatred towards white. Say what you want about the ADL, but don't generalize the Jewish community. Wait, what? You're right that this does not extend to all Jewish communities, but it also is not just limited to the ADL. And at the risk of being repetitive, I'm deeply offended by ADL's messaging and any other groups who push a de facto anti-white racism or anti-Asian racism or racism of any kind. I'm sick of it. Stop now. ADL should stop focusing on the anti-Semitism of white people and only focus on the anti-Semitism of minorities. It's a wild take. When ADL focuses on none of those things, they seemingly, and by their own definition, focus on not anti-Semitism really, but instead anti-Zionism. I guess Elon Musk is mad that the ADL, although they did try hard enough, they didn't try hard enough to save apartheid South Africa. It is true. They did work. They did collaborate, the apartheid South African spies. Thread, a new poll of American Jewish voters concluded November 5 to 9 by the Jewish Electorate Institute illustrates how striking the generational political divide is within the American Jewish community at this moment. 80% of American Jews overall strongly or somewhat support aid to Israel, but among American Jews 18 to 35, just 51 support it and 49 oppose it. My kings and queens and MBs in the American Jewish community, The Hasanabi heads represent 49% of this poll. Do you see this? In this age group, in this demographic, the Themperers. That generational divide exists everywhere. I hope one day that you can change the minds of your parents as well. Probably not going to happen, but who knows? 85% reform. 85% of Reform Jews support. 15% oppose it. 100% of Orthodox Jews in America support Israel. That's crazy. Anyway. When it comes to concerns about anti-Semitism on U.S. campuses, just 37% of those 18 to 35 think it's a problem. Compare with nearly 80% of other age groups. They rate racism and Islamophobia on campus as bigger problems. Very interesting stat from the age group actually on campus. I wonder why so many people not on college campuses have an opinion on what's going on in college campuses that is infinitely more reactionary, perhaps because they watch Fox News and mainstream media nonstop, who pumps them full of this like specific narrative. Yeah, people that are not, this is
Fox News exists for a reason. I mean,
historically always been the case. For the record, always on everything.
Yeah, see people watching it.
Speech, they said. They talked about free speech debates on college campuses over and over again at a time when I was like becoming more of a known entity in the political sphere. And it's an argument that I had to withstand all the time. It's just like, it was always the people that are not in college that were more aggro about free speech on college campuses than the actual college students themselves. That's not true, law. There are both little Orthodox Jews that don't support Israel. Yes, there are. However, I feel like they're more prominent. They're more prominent in both the UK and especially in Israel, rather than in the United States of America. They probably couldn't find like a Neterai Karta member who was an Orthodox Jew, because like the New York City Orthodox Jewish community is pretty right wing. New Jersey as well, like pretty right wing. Like very, very, very right wing. This is a poll in America. Young Jewish voters much less supportive of Biden visiting Israel and attending war meetings than older voters, much more supportive of calls for humanitarian pause. There's no question about ceasefire, but only 45% of young Jewish voters support U.S. vetoing ceasefire resolutions. It suggests a divide between the young Jews calling for ceasefire and the rest of the community is not a social media mirage, but an actual phenomenon, and one that suggests the political future of American Jewishness is contested. It is, 100%. I think those invested in Hasbara propaganda recognize this reality and don't know how to deal with it, so all they're doing is literally trying to criminalize or make it impermissible to say things that are anti-Zionist on college campuses. And what they don't realize is that's a negative radicalization that will occur as a consequence of that. You literally end up polarizing your position further. And the Democratic Party is contributing to this as well. When you are a fucking Democrat and Jewish Voice for Peace is outside of the DNC trying to hold a candlelight vigil, and you get the cops to come in and destroy the vigil and pepper spray the Jewish protesters at the behest of defending the state of Israel or whatever. Okay. And then some dumbass Democrat comes out and
police want to stop the riot and
literally openly says that those Jewish protesters are anti-Semitic and they attack the cops or whatever. What are you doing? Those are your voters, dumbass. Why are you yelling? Huge gap, age gap in support of Biden's handling of the war between 18 and 35, 53%. Older voters, 82%. And it's not even a question of younger voters criticizing him from the right, because those voters also support Biden generally more than any other age group in the poll. Yeah, this was the best Will Stansel take of all time. A person that I knew nothing about, but everyone kept dunking on him. Except this take is correct. If I was an elected Democrat in Congress, I really might start to wonder why I should go to war with my own voters in defense of a far-right government that wants to elect Donald Trump, or why I should hand that government a virtual blank check to mass millions. He's absolutely correct on this. What the f are you doing? What is wrong with you? Just absolute brain-dead behavior. I don't think the U.S. Democrats have a lot of control over a government run by Netanyahu, but at the very least, they should cut the other way. That government shouldn't be able to bully U.S. Democrats into self-betraying, self-destructive positions. Maybe a divorce is in order, and it will come. For the record, it will come. That divorce is coming with the AIPAC. With the latest AIPAC decision, there's no shot. What gets me here is the way we're supposed to ignore what Israeli leaders are. Far-right goons who, shortly before blundering their way into a security disaster, were in the process of trying to crush the judiciary. We're supposed to get all righteous in defense of them. Now you might say Israel is more than its leaders. Its people deserve not to be massacred in their homes, no matter what its leader do. I'd agree with you. Their problem is, guess who else that principle applies to? There's no logical way out of this. There's no way to separate the dignity and the rights of Israelis from the repulsiveness of their rulers without doing the same for Palestinians. And the only way a double standard makes sense is if you think Palestinians somehow count less. But the difference is they're alienating younger voters even harder. What was the AIPAC decision? I'm going to get to it right now. Hold on. But before I do that, while we were on the subject matter of like anti-Semitism coming from the right and how gross it is, yet it somehow goes unnoticed if you are pro-Israel. Here's Charlie Kirk.
Now, we don't know what part Elon is saying is the actual truth. So let's go through this. Again, it's double negatives and misuse of the word disinterested. The strange tweet that Elon pinpointed on here. But the first part is absolutely true. Let's go to this. Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. Now, I don't like generalizations. Not every Jewish person believes that. But it is true the Anti-Defamation League was part and parcel with Black Lives Matter. It is true that some of the largest financiers of left-wing anti-white causes,
Bro, they can't stop themselves. Like, they literally, it's so funny. They have to be like, no, Jews are doing diversity in America and it's bad. Like, yeah, they're like,
Same
this is
conclusions.
the funniest thing because like they have to, like the mask slips off every time. He's one step removed from starting to say Juden, okay? He's just straight up, just, he's like trying so desperately to try to triangulate an appropriate message here while simultaneously being like, but the Jews, they love diversity. You know what I mean?
have been Jewish Americans. They went all in on woke, and it wasn't just ADL. It was some of the top Jewish organizations.
I think the funniest part about this is that like the only Jewish people that they ever interact with are like the psychotic, monstrous right-wing guys. So like they can't comprehend. They think they can like bully
Media minds are heavily skewed, I guess.
75% of the American Jewish population that reliably vote Democrat into going, yeah, we hate diversity now. No, Jewish people, first and foremost, through understandable historical education about the Jewish existence, always being always being contested by pogroms and by the Holocaust, are very aware of this rhetoric. Like, this is ridiculous. There's 0% chance, no matter how dick riding of Israel a Jewish American might be, right? They hear this like, oh, dude, what the that's crazy. The only people that hear this and go, yeah, that's kind of true, are going to be like the likes of Ben Shapiro, who have been so invested in the right-wing fascist project that like he doesn't get, he's heard it a million times over. I'm literally on your side for 99% of the things you say, but white people are going down in percentage. Yeah, but that's nothing because that's not like a real concern. You know what I mean? White people are not unified in any way,
Who are the white people?
spiritually or culturally. There's Irish people, English people.
Yeah, I don't think they care much about that in Europe mostly.
German people, Dutch people, and then also secondary white categorizations that have been brought into the white umbrella as a way to maintain a white majority. It's a completely subject. You have Slavs, you have Greeks, you have Italians who are even considered white. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing. It's not a real thing. Whiteness is completely made up. And the only people who care about like the white birth rates are racist people. The argument is the population percentage of white people going down, because there's no argument there. That's true, and that's precisely the reason why now Hispanics are considered white as well. However, the real argument is it good or bad, or is it just a thing, right? Especially considering that we've been spending a shitload of time talking about a nation state that is really considerate about its own demography. I hope that people can understand why that can turn into fascism real quick.
In the country that have done that. In fact, we have seen this with the recent retreat of Jewish donations that are no longer going to be administered to colleges, right? Mark Rowan, Leon Kaufman. Can we get that full list? It's very powerful.
Uh-oh. Charlie doing the second thing that not doing, a list of rich Jews.
The part of the, so that's totally true. And by the way,
he's like, come on, bring the list. Uh-oh.
Tucker Carlson reinforces this. So I'm going to kind of
prepared for this.
Tucker Carlson.
Anyway.
They're